Okay, do you want to know the real reason why every single e-commerce store that you create keeps on failing, right? Answer me this in the comments. How many times have you built an e-commerce store where within the first 30 days it's failed? Or maybe one day you're making profit from your ads, or you're doing a TikTok organic or whatever you're doing, you're making profit, and then the next day you spend the same amount of money on ads, but you get no customers. Okay, or maybe the worst thing happens, you lose your TikTok ad account, or you lose your TikTok account, or you lose your Stripe payments, or you lose your Shopify payments. But whatever happens, at some point when you've created an e-commerce or dropshipping store, every single time without fail, within a few months, that store is no longer making any profit or money, and by the end of it, you've really only made a very small amount of profit. If you've ever been in that position before, it's actually a very easy problem to solve. Spoiler alert, it's got nothing to do with your ads or your product. Okay, it's got all to do with how you built that business and the amount of time that you spent on it. So first thing I want you to do is comment down below. How long did you spend on your last store? Like seriously, actually, did you spend a day building a product page? How long did you spend researching the market? Okay, how long did you spend trying to find the products and see if you can help solve a problem? All of these things are reasons why you failed, right? And it's not your fault because you've seen a video like this, right? Where somebody has said, I've made 30 grand in a day, right? And he has, fair play to him, right? He's got a strategy that works. But what's happened here, right, and you need to understand this, is when you're building a business, you need to learn from people who can actually sustain that business. Just because somebody makes 30 grand a day or 30 grand a month just because somebody's shown you they've made 30 grand in a day or in a month, doesn't mean they're making 30 grand a day or 30 grand a month. The same thing goes for profit, right? Doesn't mean he's making $5,000 in profit per month, right? Interestingly, you see this here, 155% increase. I don't know what platform he's using, but chances are it's comparing it to the previous day, which means he's made 155% more profit than he did in the previous day. That's got to tell you something about how much profit he makes every single day. Okay, so if he's making this much profit in one day, how do you know he's making that profit every day? And also, how do you know he's able to sustain this? Because, right, you're doing this, right? Answer me this question. Are you building a business because you want to quit your job? You don't like working a 9 to 5. Maybe you're not yet working, but you want to make sure that you never get a 9 to 5 job. Or whatever your motivation is, you want some extra income. You need security, okay? And that's why people work. That's why you have a job, is because you can reliably say, I'm going to make this much money per month for the next 12 months or 24 months. Because now I can plan out the next 12 months, 24 months. But you can't do that, right? If you make $5,000 in one day, and then the next day you run through all of that profit because your ads spend, but you don't make any sales, you're not making enough money sustainably and reliably to be able to quit your job or whatever motivation it is, whatever you want to do, right? So you need to be able to build a business that you can actually sustain. And the problem is, and I've got nothing against this, right? But these guys who create this content, and I create this content to teach you because I have something to sell you, right? And they are exactly the same. But the difference is, right, these guys know if they create a piece of content which teaches you how, or shows you rather, they can make a huge amount of money in a very short amount of time, they're going to attract the specific audience of people who want to make a lot of money in a very small amount of time. And what is one thing every single one of them don't have is the means to actually do it, the knowledge to actually do it. They don't need to show you that they can do it for a long period. They just need to show you that they can make money in a short period of time. Because if they can do that, you're going to want to do the same, and you're going to want to replicate the results. And by doing that, they can then sell you on their course or their community or whatever it is, right? And that's not a problem, because you do need to learn how to start, okay? And what they're teaching you is valuable. But if you're doing it for the reasons that you want to quit your 9 to 5 job, then you cannot learn from these people because it doesn't work. This works to get you started, but it's not going to last. And there's a reason for that, and I'm going to go through that right now. But first of all, if you want to learn how to build a sustainable business, right, and you're sick and tired of all of this shit happening, click the top link down below this video. I'm doing a free class where I'm going to teach you everything, and also if you sign up, you get a free course as well. So do that, the link's down below. But this is a store, right, that I worked on. I spent about 3 years doing marketing for e-commerce brands. I spent just over $5 million, I think, in about 3 years on advertising across all advertising platforms. And I was trying to basically work out how this is happening, right? How I keep on failing, because I've been through the same position as you. But I also wanted to work out how these big brands were also seeing success for a long period, right? These guys here making anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 in revenue per day. But this dotted line is the previous year. So the previous year, they were making the same amount of money. How many times has somebody shown you a store on e-commerce, on dropshipping, on YouTube rather, where this has happened, where they've actually built a store and they've actually then come back to it a year later and said it's still making money? Very, very rarely, right? There's a few reasons for that, but the most common one is because they don't know how to do it, okay? There's a reason why they create content on YouTube, is because if they can show you that they can make money in a short period of time, they get views. If they get views, they get people to buy their products, and then they don't need to make money from e-commerce and dropshipping. That is fine I don't mind if you do that. But the point is, if you want to build a long-term business, you can't learn from these people because they don't know how to do it. It's like trying to learn how to ride a bike from somebody with no legs, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Or at least someone who's never ridden a bike before. So how do we actually get around this problem? Well, the first thing you need to understand is how do you actually choose the product, and how you're actually starting the business is the problem, okay? Because answer me this in the comments. How long did you spend on the last business that you created, on the last dropshipping store that you created, or how long did you spend finding a product, right? Most people who start, when they're starting out, they see people making these insane numbers, and they think that the only way they're able to make that money is because they spend all of their time on marketing, on ads, right? And it makes sense. If I get 20,000 people onto my website, I'm going to make more money. Okay, so what do I need to do is I need to run some ads, or I need to create some content and post that content because I'm going to get more traffic to my website, which is more sales. The argument makes sense, right? But the reality is, if you've got a shit product or a shit business, that's not going to help. Okay, because what happens is this. A dropshipper releases a video on how to find a winning product, right? And you've been told that the reason everything's failing is because you haven't got a winning product. You can sell anything, right? Literally, you can, as long as you've got a proper business and you've set up the marketing correctly and you've actually set up everything properly to help your customers, you can sell anything. But you've been told that you need a winning product. So fine, you go ahead and watch a tutorial from this idiot who's going to teach you how to make a winning product. Okay, so what do you do there, right? Well, you've now followed the same strategy that a million other people have followed, okay? Because he either came up with this idea or he didn't. But the point is, somebody at some point came up with the idea on how to find a winning product. He has just replicated that, and he has just created his own piece of content to teach you exactly the same method. And so have 1,000 other people in the dropshipping space. Each one of those videos has got 50 to 100,000 views, right? Millions of people now are doing the exact same strategy that you are. And if it's this, which is going onto TikTok and searching for a call to action like buy now or get 50% off, or maybe it's even download the TikTok app, create an account and train the algorithm on dropshipping videos until eventually you see a product that you think is going to make money. If that's the model that you're using, you are not the only person that's using it. How many eyeballs do you think are on these products trying to sell the exact same thing that you are, okay? So then what happens is maybe somebody is able to make some success from this and is able to actually make some money. So what do? They launch a store, they launch some ads, they do exactly what you do, but they make some sales. They start to make some profit, and then what do? They share those numbers, which motivates everybody more. And they either tell people about the product, or because every single person has trained their TikTok algorithm on receiving ads from dropshipping stores, people start to see these ads. And then they start to see, okay, well, if he's spending this much money on ads, he's got to be making some success. So maybe I'll try it. Or they then see that person's doing TikTok organic and they see how many views those are getting. So they try it until eventually you come along and you see that product's now everywhere. So you decide, I need to sell it. This is what they call the sort of the Uber driver phenomenon. If your Uber driver's talking about it, you're too late, okay? And the point is this. Every single person is now trying to sell the same product. And all of your customers are having a field day because they are getting the product for an incredibly cheap price, because you are now launching a product into a very competitive space. You most likely haven't created your own advertising content because you can't be bothered or you haven't got the money, so you're just reusing people's content. And also those customers, you have to then compete on price because nobody's buying from your store, okay? So those customers get a very cheap discount because you have to compete on price. But also, if you're this person and you've started building your store, you've started making money from this store, suddenly you've now got thousands of other people selling the same product, competing with you, stealing your customers. So the only way for you to compete is to lower your price. But at the same time, you are basically ignoring the customers that have come through to your business because your business is starting to slow down. So the only thing that you think you need to do to solve that problem is spend more on ads or get more views or get more people coming through to buy more of your products. So you spend all of your time pushing your ads. Your ad costs start to rise because there's more competition in the market. You're decreasing your price, which means you're making less profit, until you're now at the point where you're making maybe $1,000 a day in revenue, but you're making 25 pence in profit. Okay, so there's no point even running your business anymore until inevitably either you stop making money or you're too late to join to the point where you get views but nobody buys from your store because you have thrown together a store and you've given nobody a reason to buy from your product, buy from your store. People don't trust you, okay? You've spent absolutely no time building up a business, and then you either blame dropshipping as a business model or you think you're cursed. Alternatively, you go around the exact same route again and you think, okay, that wasn't a winning product. I now need to find another winning product. So what do? You go back to TikTok and you just repeat the cycle. And you can see how this is a complete disastrous loop to be in, because as long as you're in this loop, the only way that you're ever going to win is if you are the first person to find a winning product that just happens to have viral potential. So essentially you are just rolling the dice every single time, hoping at some point you are going to get the winning combination and then suddenly you're going to make a load of money. And also you're hoping that once that happens, nobody else will notice and compete with you. Because don't forget, right, you're watching this video because you don't understand marketing or running a business, okay? So what are the chances that somebody like this guy, who has spent millions of dollars on ads, is going to find the same product and he is going to completely blow you out of the water because he can spend more money on ads, he can build a proper store, he can build a proper service for his customers, and he also knows that if he gets a customer through the door and he can get that customer a good result, i.e. get their product to them on time, answer their questions, give them tracking information, let them know when their product's going to arrive, basically just have good customer support, that customer will come back and buy from them again. So they can spend more to acquire a customer. So it's just never going to work, right? And if it does work, it's not going to work for long, which means you end up having a business that looks like this, okay? This is what annoys me, okay? Out of maybe 500 people who are watching this video, I guarantee you 95% of you are going to watch this, you're going to ignore everything I've said, and you're going to go back and you're going to go and watch that idiot recommend another winning product for you. Whereas what you should be doing is you should say, right, the product doesn't matter. What matters is the service I give to the customer. Think about this. How many times have you bought a product from a store that you've never heard of? Probably very, very small amount of times. And then how many of those times have you bought from that store again? Probably never, okay? And the reason this happens is because that store has not spent time basically delivering upon the service that they promised. And that service is shipping times or product quality or customer support and customer care or aftercare once they've bought the product. Maybe you give them something to help them use that product. Whatever it is, nobody focuses on that stuff because it's boring and everybody thinks it's not going to make them money. But meanwhile, you've got companies like Amazon, for example, which is just cleaning up because they are spending all of their time thinking about service, okay? The reason you buy from Amazon again, and Amazon is obviously a huge example, but it's easy to demonstrate the point with them, the reason you buy from them over and over and over again is because you know, without fail, every single time, if something goes wrong, you can find the answer to the question you have. You can get a refund. You can cancel your order. You can get the order in 24 hours. You can send that order back and get your money back. Every single time, you know as a customer, that business is on your side, okay? So you go and buy from them again, right? You've probably spent tens of thousands of dollars at Amazon. And they also know that it's very, very expensive to acquire a first customer. Okay, ignoring and pushing aside the fact that they can spend more money to acquire a customer because that customer will keep coming back, it's very, very difficult to acquire that first customer. So once you've got that customer, you better try and keep them, okay? Because if that customer keeps on coming back, you're going to make a lot more money. Whereas traditional dropshippers, idiots that are going to go ahead and watch those videos that I showed you earlier and are going to ignore what I'm saying in this video, all of those people, and by the way, just a side note, if you need any extra help, I'm doing a free training. You can go ahead and click the link down below in the description and get that, but you also get a free course. But those people are going to go ahead, they're going to basically churn and burn customers. They get a customer, that customer pays them. They then ignore that customer. For them, the customer is no longer important. Okay, so they go ahead and they find another customer. And the only way to keep on climbing this ladder is to keep on finding new customers. But at a certain point, competition gets so high, okay, competition gets so high, I can't get rid of that. Competition gets so high, those customers get a really bad experience. You start to have to focus on your business now because you spent so long scaling rapidly because it's such a competitive space. At a certain point, now you've realized there's a whole host of things going wrong in your business. Customers haven't been able to get answers to their questions. Maybe you've got 300 emails from people saying, where's my order? Okay, you've got 300 emails from people saying the product never arrived. Your supplier never shipped things out on time. You're not actually building a proper business, okay? Your business is not able to handle that scale, is not able to handle that growth. So now you're spending all of your time basically trying to dig yourself out of a hole, no time on your marketing, no time on your business, and you're basically just massively trying to fill a leaky bucket, right? You're trying to plug all the holes, and then your business starts to fail. And then the more time you spend on it, the more time you spend trying to fix these problems, the quicker your business fails. And that is why you have a lifetime of probably about maybe 1 or 2 months in your business, whereas other people are able to build long-term sustainable brands. And the reason, the only difference, is because they spent more time building the business properly, building the support systems that customers need. And here's the main problems that customers usually have, right? Refund policy. Okay, how do I get a refund? When they come onto your website, you need to make it very, very easy for them to find the information that they need. Okay, how long is it going to take for my order to arrive? When somebody orders from your store, very, very often they will forget how long it takes for a product to arrive or how to track their order. They don't want to have to go through all of their emails and find this information. They want to be able to come to your site and be able to access this information. And if you can make it obvious and easy for them, but also you can make them believe and trust that if it doesn't turn up, they can get their money back and they're going to be treated properly, then those people are going to trust you and then buy from you again. But also they're going to share your products on social media. Maybe they'll create a testimonial video that you can then use in ads, and you create a snowball effect where your business continues to scale, right? So that is basically how you build a long-term business, right? That's why you've kept on failing before. And it's not like rocket science to do. It just requires you to take a mind shift difference, okay? And hopefully you're in a position where you've never built an e-commerce store before and you're about to go down the route of building one. And if that's the case, join my free course, because I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to make sure that you build it properly. But at the very least, if you take one thing away from this video, it's spend time on the things that matter for your customers, not spend time on the things that matter for how much money you can line your pockets with. Because if you do that, you're going to lose everything anyway. You might as well build a long-term business. And that way you can build money that you can rely on, and hopefully at some point, maybe you could quit your job. That is it. Anyway, join my free class and bye.